you go.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
There you go.
Cheers.
Stone and wood.
Stone and wood.
Not a
Where's
bad
this
one.
from?
How many
Byron
flavours
Bay?
have they got? Yeah.
Yeah, Byron Bay.
Nice,
Shout out
nice
Byron
brewery.
Bay,
on.
yeah.
They do
Absolutely.
good steaks from memory.
Cheers.
We'll have to go suss it out. Cheers, boys.
Definitely
reckon.
a road trip with Byron.
Yeah.
Can we do that yet?
Yeah. I don't know, but it has been a good week. It's been a very good week when
That's
it comes
across
to
the
the
border
COVID
the other day,
restrictions.
actually.
It has.
Lifting around the country. I'm happy.
Oh,
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Oh,
I'm pumped.
We can come out to
Gyms
play
are
again.
opening up again.
Oh,
Yeah. Restaurants and bars are opening up.
Yes.
I actually went out to a bar on Friday night. Yeah, I thought I'd suss out the vibe.
How was it? That's
Dude,
interesting.
it was fun. There was limited people there, right? So
Yeah.
it was a real small vibe, but it sort of
Intimate.
connected.
Intimate.
Yeah, it connected
Yeah.
us a bit more.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh yeah, we're all out drinking, we're having a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
beers,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Guys are like the pioneers of the
Yeah.
post-COVID world.
Yeah,
There's probably a
the
lot of people that are
trailblazers.
still scared.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, we were just having some beers, and the bartender was there, and he was pretty chirpy. You know, hadn't seen some customers in a while. Was just pretty pumped, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, he was saying how he's just been working long days and not doing a whole lot, just getting everything set up. So I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm just gonna get you a shot. Like, have a shot with us.
Good on ya.
And then he just
Get him amongst it.
Yeah, he just backfired on me. I was like, no, dude, I'm gonna get the shots. We're all gonna
Oh,
have
nice.
shots.
On the house.
On the house.
Yeah, good.
And I was like, this
What a
guy's a legend, man. So then we were having shots and beers, and then and then there was a group of tradies behind us. So then we're just like, yo, what's going on? We G'd up with them, got them in on the vibe as well, and then we're all having a bit of a party, and then it escalated a bit, and some police ended up rolling in, and our trustful bartender had a pint and a shot in his hand, and the police had a few words to him, and we sort of skedaddled a little bit, you know, didn't want to make it look like there was
Oh, you smoke bomb the hell out of that.
yeah, we sort of just split
Get
a
out of
little
Dodge.
bit, just get out of Dodge a bit, don't want to upset the police and what they're doing. And anyway, they ended up chatting to him. I don't really know what they said to him and what he was saying, but afterwards he was, you know, closing up, and I went back and said, hey mate, like, how you going? What happened? And he's like, oh, you know, $60K fine to the establishment.
Shut up.
Yeah, dude.
Shut up.
Yeah.
$60,000
Yeah.
from the police to the
Yeah.
establishment.
Well, that's what I heard him say. So
Dude.
I don't know if that's going.
So
through
this
or
guy's
not,
been
but
shut for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Not making any coin.
Yeah.
It's opening up. There's a few people there.
Yeah.
$60,000 fine.
$60,000.
Oh,
That is
that's not
savage.
fair.
Yeah,
That
no,
is
yeah.
savage.
Savage as.
Savage.
Surely you'd protest that and just
Oh,
be like,
Yeah.
man.
it's not achievable.
Yeah.
Can't pay it.
Oh.
For
I
what?
felt so bad.
Yeah, but
because,
what exactly was it for? Too many people in the venue?
Well,
or what? Was it
yeah.
'cause it was
So
just drinking on the job.
Yeah.
What was it?
So I'm pretty sure it was a few too many people in there. There wasn't many over the limit, maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Just lost track because he was having a bit of fun with us. And
No way.
There's got to be some
and also
tolerance
he
to that.
was drinking while working.
Yeah. For those
But
international
what bartender
listeners,
doesn't?
Australia has very, very strict service of alcohol laws.
Yeah.
And I just realised we forgot to welcome you to another podcast
Yeah,
here on the
welcome.
Broadwater. How can I do that to our audience listening to us today? Welcome. We got Chris, myself, Jason, and Sam here again. Another podcast, straight to your ears, straight to your eyes if you're watching on YouTube. And again, thank you for supporting the channel. And what's the next topic, boys? We already just had the first one. That was a great story.
I can't get over that. 60 grand. For
Yeah.
what? Like,
60
what bartender
grand.
doesn't
I don't
have a
know how
shot?
it's justifiable.
Every
Yeah.
every bartender I know is drinking
Yeah.
on the job. That's why you become a bartender.
Well, yeah, that's right. And he created the morale, you know, where we ended up buying more drinks,
And
and
surely
we were spending money
that
there.
Yeah,
intimate
yeah,
setting
yeah.
of like, there's 10 people here. What's the worst that's going to go down? Like, you get to know everyone, you're
Yeah.
having drinks with them. It's
Yeah.
great.
The
Yeah.
vibe
Should be
was
encouraged.
just unreal, and especially haven't been to a bar in a few months now because of lockdown, and just going there and
understand.
having that relationship with the
Well,
bartender.
the fact that you said you rounded up the other group and
Yeah,
you're all together.
that's right.
That says a huge amount
Yeah.
about our community, doesn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I love this country.
Yeah.
Have you
So-
done any bar or restaurants?
Not since lockdown. No, I've done some takeaways
Yeah.
from places. Try to support some local businesses around the place. Restaurants, though, I'm trying to think. No, I mean, even I was at the shopping center the other day and I wanted some sushi. So I went and ordered some sushi.
Yeah.
And I grabbed it and I went to go sit down and realized that everything was roped off. And I just went, oh my God.
Yeah.
We had to go sit in our car and eat the sushi from the shopping center. So I was like, okay, it's not really the same experience just yet. But at least I could get some sushi. Which I missed and I love.
Which is all that matters.
Yeah. But yeah, man, there's other restrictions. You know, borders are going to be opening back up.
Yeah.
Big announcement for those of you who like to ski and snowboard. Hotham and Falls Creek have just opened up saying 24th of June.
That's going to be hot property.
Tell me about it. I want to go. I'm definitely keen to go.
Because even if the airlines open up internationally, which they won't, even if they do, everyone's like, I'm just turned off international travel for the next couple of years. Just want to see Australia, maybe New Zealand included in that. And domestic tourism is going to boom. And the snowfields will just be full.
I hope so. Yeah. And they've had some serious snow this year as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's cruel.
In May.
It's cruel.
Like, I saw some pictures on the cams and there's something came up on my Facebook. The powder was like a foot deep just sitting on the tables.
Man.
And I know exactly where it is at Hotham. There's the bar right at the top of the mountain and there's all the outdoor benches there where everybody sits.
I love a bar at the top of the mountain.
Oh man. Yeah. And I just saw the snow and I went, this is not fair.
What are you, a skier or a boarder?
I've never tried boarding. I've always skied.
Right.
And I used to be quite heavy into mountain biking back in the day. I used to race downhill. So like my preference is to like the front of my body to be facing down, like same on a bike. My balance is that way. Yeah. But I wakeboard, and so I reckon I can snowboard. Yeah. So
I reckon we give it a crack next time.
Yeah. What about you, Sam? Are you skiing?
I always ski. I've done snowboarding a few times, and my whole thing is I'm only ever there for 3 or 4 days, and I don't want to sacrifice.
That's what I think too.
A snow trip to learning. Yeah. But I think I just need to bite the bullet, learn, get it done, and then I've got both options.
Nah, man, I'm a boarder. Come just join the vibe.
My friends are all boarders pretty much.
Yeah.
Skiing's fun though.
I'm scared of breaking my wrist.
I don't know. I don't get around skiing.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
It doesn't look as cool.
It doesn't, but I reckon...
I just like being attached to one
breaking
platform.
My wrists
fast. I go so fast.
Yeah, you go a bit faster on skis.
Uncontrollably fast.
Crazy.
I remember you and I went on a ski trip last year.
That was good fun.
It was very good fun. You took us down these black diamonds. You always do it.
Down off Melbourne?
Yeah, I'm like...
Yeah, we went to Hotham. Was it Hotham? And we went to both, Falls Creek and Hotham. I think we did a day at each, if my memory's right.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think
a few too many beers on this trip.
Oh, no. It was actually a mate of ours' birthday on the slope. That was a fun day.
Yeah. Beers in the spa. The jacuzzi afterwards.
Yeah.
Singing.
It was choice.
Yeah. That's good fun.
That's good.
Everyone got amongst it.
For some reason, Miller is just fearless when it comes to
there's fear.
Being on the mountain.
There's fear.
Is there fear though?
Well, there's no.
It didn't seem like it on the day.
There's no fear when there's powder. When there's powder,
there's like
no
ice.
friends and there's no
ice.
fear.
Yeah, it looks like powder, and then you hit it, and it's just like.
You've been to? Have you guys been to New Zealand before?
Yeah, dude. I love New Zealand,
and I'm so keen to go, and it feels like the perfect time.
I've been to New Zealand many times. I actually lived there for a little bit as well. We'll have to do a trip.
100%.
Mainly on the South Island. Didn't really touch on the North Island. Only went to Auckland a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, crazy place. Like, just it's a small place. You can drive. I drove around it a couple times. You know, my first trip, I drove around it in 6 days, just down the west coast.
Yep.
Just went to the glaciers there. There's Fox Glacier, Franz Joseph Glacier.
Yep.
And then you wrap around back in and hit Wanaka, which is nice. They've got Roy's Peak there, which is a really good hike.
Beautiful.
Did you get amongst the hikes?
Yeah, I got amongst so many
stunning,
hikes. Yeah, through Arthur's Pass, I did Avalanche Peak, which was cool, and it was snowing. There was lots of snow up there at the time, so when you hike up, there's a section at the end where you're hiking in the snow and you're just clinging to a few rocks. So you got to really watch what you're doing.
Yeah, right. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, we're like, do we take crampons or not? And we're just like, well, should be right. We'll just go this other route. There was a couple routes where there's a heap of snow, one where there's just a bit of snow. So we just went the bit of a safer option. It was getting towards the end of winter.
Yeah.
But there's lots to do. Queenstown, Milford Sound,
scenic.
Doubtful Sound. Just many hikes.
I actually saw some pictures from your last trip, and I got to say,
it just
it just looked like you had I think, who are you with? You're with one of your mates?
Yeah, I was with one of my mates. So like when you get in touch with the locals there, it's just unreal. You know, you get the full experience. Anywhere you go traveling, you go to Europe, you know, you meet a local, they'll tell you.
It's the best.
They'll tell you the vibe.
It's the best.
New Zealand locals are just so friendly.
Oh, they're super
their sense
friendly.
of humour, their banter and everything.
Yeah.
I love it.
And yeah, I think they live a very country life. Which I love. Yeah. So we just connected well and got on really well and we just go fishing and shooting and hunting.
That's what I mean. The pictures of like you went fishing, you went shooting, did some 4-wheel driving. It was like basically every boy's like wet dream holiday. It was like it looked really good.
Yeah,
and then you just ate off the land and just.
That's it.
That seems unreal.
Yeah, we just took the boat out, got some snappers, got some fish, hit the rocks, got some oysters and things like that.
Yeah,
and we went to get some powers, but we couldn't find any powers, which was a bit of a letdown, but that's all right.
Okay.
And then we went shooting, and it was quite funny because the place we went, my mate, it was sort of his first time around that area too, but we saw a local farm there, and we just got all this fish from fishing, so we just rocked up to the farmhouse, and we're just like, hey mate, how you going? You know, what's going on? How you going? And we're just like, look, we're just here for a week. We just wanted to see if we could have a shoot around, if that's all right. You know, we've got some fish here. You know, exchange some fish and go on his place. No, he didn't mind, man. We just gave him some snappers, and he's like, go for your life. He's like, last week just down the back around the corner there, you'll go over this crest. And we saw like 9 deers there last week. Yeah. And there was just this unreal lake. Like private property, man.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's just like I was balling.
Yeah. It was next level. So then,
that's the dream.
We were just cruising around through there and took a few rifles with us and ended up getting a deer. And
did ya?
Yeah. Well, I did. Well, my mate ended up shooting. Did you
know how to like process it and get them?
Yeah, well, he does. So soon as he shot it, what the Kiwis do, man, the Kiwi style, they just go over there and butcher it up and take their piece and really respect it and take it home to eat. Yeah, nothing's put to waste. It's an experience in itself.
For sure. Yeah. I've always done clay pigeon shooting.
Oh yeah.
I still haven't shot any animals. So it's like one of those things where in my mind I'm like, I don't know if I can get around shooting animals.
Yeah.
But the way if you do it humanely and you're doing it to eat and you're not just going to kill it for the sake of killing it,
it was another experience for me because in Australia,
those people shooting lions and for what reason, bro? You're just some rich American.
I don't get around that.
I don't get around that at all.
But in Australia, with farming, you do a lot of pest control, and we do shoot pigs and things like that. And but here, the culture is just shoot it, kill it, leave it. So over there, when shooting with him, and I shot my first animal in New Zealand there, and I was just like, just leave it. Yeah. And he's just like,
no way.
Just walks over to it and starts butchering it up. Yeah. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? Yeah. And then I was like, whoa, this is nice. This is good to see. So it's just those cultural differences that are really good to experience and be a part of. And
I know like a lot of backpackers come to Australia. Is the backpacking scene in like New Zealand any good?
Dude, yeah. Like when you're driving around there's just backpackers everywhere that want to lift. Yeah. There was a time where we were driving around, like I was saying, we're up around the north of the South Island, and we went out one night, just had a few beers to catch up, and one of the locals was like, "Oh, you guys here for the races tomorrow?" We're like, looked at each other, races tomorrow? Tell us more, what's going on, And he's like, yeah, there's races at the race course and all this. We're like, all right, well,
good G1 events, horse racing.
Yeah, and they do a lot of the chariot style racing.
Oh, the harness.
Yeah, they get around that a lot. Yeah. So anyway, we're like, hell yeah, let's do this. So we went to some shops, got some outfits, hit the races, nice. And then after the races, we're like, what a full day. We had some leftover champagne and that. We're cruising back, and then there was this backpacker on the side, and we're just like, fuck it, let's just pick up this backpack.
Oh, she was hitchhiking.
Yeah, she's hitchhiking. Yeah, right. Okay. Right? She's just like,
people still do that.
Needed to get to the next town. In New Zealand, man, right. It's
that
huge.
Community-friendly vibe.
That's great.
Yeah, it's like country towns, man. Everyone has trust. Yeah, everyone's friends.
Everyone's got everyone's back.
So you picked up this chick on the side of the road.
So we picked her up, and we're just like, what's going on? How you doing? Jump in. Do you want a champagne? She's just like, what's going on?
AAA service over here.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
Yeah.
And then we got talking to her, and she wanted to do around the Abel Tasman. She wanted to do this crazy hike up there, which was cool. But this was before before we just had our trip planned. You know, we were going to go do all this fishing and shooting and all this stuff, and we just put it to her. We said the ultimatum, you know, like, you can always sort of get this hike in, or you can spend 3 or 4 days with us and get this experience that you wouldn't usually get when you come here.
Nice.
And she was debating, you know, oh, do I do it? Do I not
No,
do
she
it?
just got in this car with two random dudes.
I just met these guys. Who are they? What, you know, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then eventually she's just like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it.
No way.
Yeah. So then we went fishing, hunting, everything, did the whole deal. And at the end of it, we reflected on it, and we were like, it's so crazy how this worked out. It was almost like it was meant to be, like another person there helping throughout the process.
Yeah,
we were
getting
like
everything done.
working together as a unit, like
Yeah.
unloading the
the
boat,
same.
having an extra person there, ripping the
the
car up.
Yeah.
When we're fishing, like one person to drive, another person to help hook up lines and put lines in.
Yeah.
We're like, this just worked out extremely well. Like, it was just
I love
how
hearing
it
those
was meant to
stories.
happen.
Yeah, I love that, because that's so old school.
And it's just crazy to just do things like that.
Yeah.
Just
It does
go
make
against the
you-
grain a little bit.
It's a bit nostalgic.
Yeah, it gives you positive, positive feelings of the world. It's like,
Yeah.
if she's willing to be wandering along and meeting two strangers and then hanging out, and then
For
there's
4 days.
3 or 4 days
Yeah.
of fun. It's like, that's
Yeah.
what life
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
We
And
should all have that freedom within us to be able to do
Absolutely.
and have that trust, you know.
Yeah, and like no expectation.
No
too.
expectation, just come and join the
Because
journey.
you can definitely see, like, from an outsider's point of view.
Yeah.
Two dudes picking up a chick on the side of the road. Hey, you want to cover us for 4 days? Oh, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
But like, I'm
Yeah.
guessing that didn't happen.
No. We actually,
Yeah.
when we got accommodation, we got her own room and everything, and we just bunked in together.
I think people that put themselves in those positions have good intuition, and
Yeah.
they can get vibes off
Yeah.
people and be like, oh, these are good, genuinely good
Yeah.
people, or you can just sense
Shadiness.
danger.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, you learn things from everyone. She would have learned a lot from us,
Oh,
and
for
we
sure.
learned a lot from her as well.
Yeah.
So
Dude, she'll remember that for the rest of her life now.
That's right,
As
you
one of
know.
those stories to tell her friends and family.
I'd love
Yeah.
to hear her version.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris would just see her like, no, I'm kidding.
Nah, she would be like, what the fuck was
She would
that?
have loved it. She would have loved it.
Oh, good. Man, it's been a
Yeah.
positive week. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Another huge deal. Elon Musk, SpaceX, NASA, 2 astronauts into space.
I'm
10 years
I'm-
since the last time this
I'm
happened.
so over the moon about this, to be honest. Like, yeah,
I mean,
Well
it's-
done.
It's a journey, man.
Yeah.
That guy he's a fucking animal.
He's grinding.
I went to NASA like 3 years ago.
You went to
I
NASA?
went to the one in Texas. What's the towns? What's some cities in Texas? I can
Houston?
Houston.
Yeah.
I can never remember it. Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely Houston.
Yeah.
Probably. And we're walking around, and it was
Houston,
like
we have a problem.
you could just tell that they were a shell of the company that they once were. They weren't getting the budgets. They weren't getting the sort of direction to say, let's go out there and explore space. It's the future of humanity. It's critical. It just wasn't there as a shell of a company. Now it's just got that research and teaming up with SpaceX and making it more economically viable and having more of a privatized economy mentality around it, not just blowing huge proportions as much as they might.
Yep.
And it's just got this research, and now it's like it's back. It's back. Space is back. We're getting out
jeez.
there.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're sending people to the
Huge.
moon.
Huge.
We're going to send people to Mars. It's happening.
It's proactive.
Yeah.
It's very proactive.
Yeah.
And I just I loved watching this video of Trump, like just popping up on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
And he's just owning it. He's
Yeah.
just
Oh, of
like,
course he
is.
I'm surprised he didn't put
Of course
his
he-
name
yeah.
on the
Just on the
rocket.
side of the rocket.
SpaceX cross through it.
Yeah.
Making space exploration great again.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Guess who didn't do it? China.
That's his whole thing. But no, good on him.
Yeah. Elon's
Oh,
a beast. I know we
he's
said this
a
before
beast,
on
man.
another episode, man. Do you know he now has one of the biggest compensation packages in the world? Of any corporation?
He recently did that.
Yeah,
didn't
because he chose when he started these companies. Like he took the money he made from PayPal.
Yep.
He put it into his companies, Tesla and SpaceX. He
Yep.
borrowed money for rent. What a baller!
Yeah, what a baller.
And he doesn't pay himself a salary.
Yep.
So what he's done is basically he gives himself stock options. So he's now recently, because he reached a milestone to receive those options, he's now got one of the biggest compensation packages in history.
700 million?
So I actually don't know the figure. I didn't actually look at that, but just it's insane. Biggest in history, so it's got to be something massive.
Yeah. Good
I
on him.
should have definitely researched that.
That's all right.
So, yeah, he's just absolutely backed himself.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
given
yeah.
it
What a
every
weapon.
minute of every day.
Yeah.
Do you know how
dedicated
much
to it.
failure he's endured?
No.
When he first started SpaceX, he had many rockets fall out of the sky for various issues. Like some of them, they just didn't hook up fuel cells right, and the fuel was sloshing around, which pushed the rocket off its path, and then it ended up, just exploding in the air.
Yeah.
Just lots of things like this. They went to secluded islands to just work remotely in these just horrific conditions to just push things over the line. Failure after failure, and he's running off his money. It's not, he didn't have much funding and things like that. So he endured all these failures to the point where his last rocket that he was pushing up needed to work. It had to work.
Yeah, that was the one back in the day.
Back in the day,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
then once that worked, he got a big contract with
blast.
NASA.
Yeah.
He probably
after
got some
that.
funding from
And
the
then he
places,
started getting funding through that. But he really
These
put everything on the
Key
line.
moments of it could all...
Yeah.
He's make or
Very-
break,
yeah.
that guy.
Dude,
Yeah.
Make or
that's
break.
what our world needs.
He was traveling to
no more
Russia
fat
to
cats
look
trying to look
for
after their own
rockets.
asses in the corporate world, bro. We need people
Yeah.
like Elon Musk changing the world.
Geniuses
That's what we
backing
need.
themselves. I've always said we
that's
need more
it.
engineers in politics.
Well, you know what Elon said? I watched an interview with him. He's saying there's too many smart people going
In
into law
finance.
and finance.
Yeah.
He said we need more entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So if you got the ability out there, just
Well,
back yourself.
he's
back
ins-
yourself.
He's
We need you.
inspired. He's inspired a lot
Yeah.
of people to
Yeah.
start thinking
100%.
like that.
Well,
For
when
sure.
I read his book, I was inspired. I
Yeah.
was like, my God, I'm limiting myself.
And the motive of
I
these
need to
people,
put more effort into just
Anything.
have more ambitious goals like this guy.
the
Yeah.
motive is driven by bettering society,
Yes.
not getting rich.
That's
Exactly.
right.
And that's pure.
Yeah, because
It
when
is
you but
pure.
when you're worrying about getting rich, you're always worried about the downside too. Elon's not worried about the downside. Like he said, he made millions of dollars selling PayPal, and he puts it into companies. It's
Straight
all
away.
at risk. He doesn't back himself. Oh, I'm going to put 10 million away for a rainy day. He
Yeah.
didn't even do that.
And even now, he's sold his properties.
Yeah,
He's
as
just
we
like-
discussed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a
Like-
billionaire.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sell my things. I don't need
Because
it.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of rich people say it's not what it's cracked up to be.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're saying I want a better society and you
Yeah.
do that,
Yeah.
that is godly. Like
Yeah.
to say I've improved civilization a significant amount,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
that's going to fill you up every day.
It's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
He's sacrificed a lot of his life. Like, he could do pretty much whatever he wants. He's
Yeah.
got a lot of money. He
But what does
doesn't
he
need
do?
to-
He grinds.
He grinds.
He chooses to
he
do
does
that, change the
not
world.
stop.
And that's what
Yeah.
makes the world move forward. That's
Exactly.
what makes the developments push and our civilizations expand. It's by people like Elon Musk putting in the work and,
And
the
you know
effort
what?
to do it.
He's just such a good character too. He was recently, I think it was this week too. He was on a with Cars with Jay Leno or something like that.
Oh,
Jay
yeah.
Leno's car show, and he brought the Cybertruck on, and Jay Leno was driving this thing
Oh,
around.
really?
Yeah. So
Jay Leno got a
as
show.
you do, being the person who's running the interview,
watch
Jay's
that.
asking him all these questions about the truck,
Yeah.
and he's like, "So tell me about the glass. It's not obviously normal glass and thing and that." And Elon's like, "Yeah, well, no, it's all bulletproof."
Yeah.
And Jay's like, well, why do I need my truck to be bulletproof? And Elon's like, you telling me you don't want your truck to be bulletproof? And he's like, well, shit, I suppose I do. Like, okay. And he's like, I like that. So Elon's like, well, dude, of course you want your truck to be
Yeah.
bulletproof. It's cool as
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
If you can have it.
Yeah.
I
why
love
not
his
have it?
perception of cool.
Yeah,
like,
dude, he came
thinks
on with
like,
a leather jacket, these shades on. He's a
Well,
G.
he just does what's in his heart. Like
Yeah.
even
Yeah, he's
even
got
with
the
his
inner child.
flamethrower.
Yeah, yeah,
He's got
yeah.
the
He's
inner
like,
child.
fuck
the
it, I'm gonna
flamethrower.
make a flamethrower,
Because
and
you
I'm
saw
gonna
on
call it not a
Spaceballs.
flamethrower.
On Spaceballs, have you ever watched the movie Spaceballs?
No, I haven't, no.
There's the one scene where it's a kind of a rip off on Star Wars, Mel Brooks style. Like it's a piss take, funny movie. And the guy's got a flamethrower, and they're going through the gift shop, and he pulls out a flamethrower and shoots it.
Yeah.
And the flame shoots out, and he's like, the kids love that. And then Elon quoted that when he was talking about making a
flamethrower.
flamethrower.
Did he?
So it was like a
Okay.
movie you watched as a kid.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he just gets these ideas and does it.
A lot of what Elon does wrap around his childhood and what he did growing up. Yeah, it's interesting.
That's so good.
There's something in that, you know. There's something in that.
Yeah. And again, he's trying to do things like, I think it's the Boring Company that he runs as well.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that did the flamethrower. But I think that's the one doing the tunnels underneath.
Because
Yeah.
he doesn't,
I think
he doesn't like
has
the
he-
traffic in LA.
Yeah, he's like,
I can fix this.
Yeah, but again, it's like society problem, not a me problem,
Yeah.
society problem. I can fix this. We'll just tunnel underneath and make a little, system of things. They actually took, in the Jay Leno thing, they took the Cybertruck through one of the tunnels.
Oh, that's
For the
cool.
first time. It was really sick.
Double down on the
But
Elon
how cool is
influence.
that? If you got a Tesla, you go through one of the tunnels, you just put it on autopilot.
Yeah. Well,
Just
I
takes you through these
just
tunnels.
love
Yeah.
No
his thought
traffic.
process on things. How his ways of efficiency and improving things is by breaking things down to first principles.
Yeah.
So he'll see
Way
a
to
problem,
engineer things.
and he'll see a problem, and then just go, all right, well, what are the steps that go back
Yeah.
to the ultimate solution? Really?
Yeah.
Let's just not do it the way we've always done
Yeah.
it. Let's take a step back, look at the system, and go, how can we improve it from a system level?
Yeah.
We've got the influence of the world.
Yeah.
We don't have to focus on this bit and improve this bit. Let's
Yeah.
just step back
Yeah.
Yeah.
until we've got the whole
LA
system.
traffic.
Do you
I don't
know-
want to be in LA
do you know
traffic. Let's
why
just make a tunnel.
He's so good at being him, though, is because he's not intimidated by establishments, governments, nothing. Like, you look at him opening up his Tesla factory in California. I think it's California, correct me if I'm wrong.
California, yeah.
And he was like, screw the restrictions.
Yeah.
I'm opening up my
Yeah.
factory.
Come and arrest me.
And if you're going to do anything, arrest me. Don't arrest any of my workers.
Yeah.
This dude is not scared of establishment. He's not
Yeah.
scared of government.
Yeah.
He's not scared of the rules because he's coming from the right place of trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And he truly believes it. And
He
so does everyone else.
Yeah.
There's so many people, young people especially, if you're smart and you want to be entrepreneurial, but you're intimidated by the big corporations or the big governments or the rules that are in place to say this is what you can and cannot do. It's up to us as young people to go, well, yes, these are the rules of now. These are not always going to be the rules of future and where we're going to go and where we're going to be. We have to really
it's a
think
form of
about
protest, and protest
Yeah.
is powerful to influence change and innovation.
Yeah.
You know, it is about getting a voice heard, and if the voice is correct, then it will be heard and implemented and improvements achieved. It's not just people with a sign
Yeah.
waving it in your face aggressively.
That's right.
It's-
Yeah.
There's a lot of power in questioning everything and having that critical thinking approach and
Yep,
say,
which
well,
we
hang on,
always
we've done it
talk
this
about.
way
Yeah.
always.
Yep.
We can improve this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then getting like a consensus
Yeah. Yep.
and then progress.
Which Elon really used when he was starting out building his rockets with SpaceX. So, places like NASA, they're a huge like corporation. And Elon, being Elon, was just like, why are they doing things the way they're doing them?
Yeah.
I can do it better.
Yeah.
I can source my parts from Russia. I'm going to fly to Russia and just check out if I can buy some cheaper rockets and then do that.
There's no
Oh,
boundaries.
no, that fell through, I'm pretty sure. And then what he did when he was building his rockets, he had his workers dive into the procurement side of things and manage the price of all their items. And where they sourced them from was just wherever they could get the item for a good price, but also had quality.
Yeah.
So it's harder for bigger corporations that are already in the game and that have all these systems and procedures developed to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas he got in early, looked at the most efficient streams, put them in place. So then when his rockets were built, they were actually vastly cheaper and as efficient, and if not more efficient, than existing rockets.
Like there's stories of NASA, and they were getting that typical overly large government company burning money to spend the budget, and there was corruption and there's the story of there was a communication device with some fancy name, and it was $200 a unit, and then the audit trail went in and they're like, all right, what are these? $200 a unit, what is it? It was a pen, and not like an astronaut space pen that you can write in space. It was just a pen.
Yeah,
So-
they have different pens.
So they're selling, but this wasn't a special pen,
Yeah.
but they're selling them for $200 a unit because
space.
corruption.
I was like,
there's-
who's making a
so
killing
someone
on
like
that?
Elon
Yeah,
Musk
yeah,
gets
yeah.
right down to the procurement
Yeah, and says,
specifics
bugger
and
that.
says, well, we're not.
Yeah, what are we
we're
doing
not,
that for?
We're not doing it that way.
Yeah.
We're doing it this way.
We're doing it this
it's
way.
going to
Yeah.
be optimized every dollar's
Yeah.
And
accounted
he
for.
was brutal with that too. He
Good on him.
if people could not
Absolutely.
improve their costs, he fired them.
Yeah.
And they had to report to him on a weekly basis
Yeah.
and justify everything they purchased,
Yeah.
why they purchased it. And if they couldn't do that, he fired them.
Good.
Yeah.
Dude, those people that go to work another day, another dollar.
Yeah.
You aren't approving a corporation, my friend.
He's building a vision. He's building...
Yeah.
There's companies for those kind of people, and obviously Elon Musk's companies
is not one of them.
Are not one of them.
Yeah.
With
taking a lot of pride in perfection.
If you want that much drive and that much development and growth in a human lifetime, you need to be extremely efficient. And if he doesn't have the efficient people backing him and build that culture, then
it's not going to happen. He wouldn't have got this far.
It'll slow it down.
Because how many employees does he have under him? I think it's like 30,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if he's got... Could you imagine the difference between the right 30,000 and the wrong 30,000?
Oh, yeah.
That rocket would not have launched recently.
You know that launch, apparently, it was like a 1 second window where they could launch. Because it's based on like the trajectory or the...
I know it was cancelled on Wednesday because of weather.
Right.
And then they launched it last night.
There was a 1 second window of hit the burners, we got to take off.
No way. So the astronauts are literally sitting there strapped in going... Now, boom! Like they're just waiting.
I think they start at 10.
They still do the tradition. As is tradition.
10, 9.
Yeah, no hiccups.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to bring up, speaking of space, is the recent official release of these UFO videos that have been kicking around.
I knew you were going to say that too.
Like, huge. Huge.
Yeah.
It is huge.
Big news.
Like, they're official release to say, yes, this is filmed by the Defense Force. NASA have filtered through it. We don't know what it is.
When was it filmed?
There's different footages.
And why now? Why is it?
This
why
one
now?
was maybe like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Why now is a great question.
Is it like, there's so much going on in the world?
Yeah.
Let's just be like, there's UFOs.
I wouldn't
sneak
slip
that one out.
It's like, well, everyone's pretty
this out.
distracted at the moment. Let's just get it out.
Yeah.
Let's just get it out now because, the footage has been kicking around and the
I'm not going to
speculations have
lie.
been
I've seen that
bubbling up.
footage before it came out. I'm not going to lie. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
there's lots of videos kicking around, and you don't know if it's real or not. But now it's back.
It's
and the
back.
pilots,
It's
the
back
pilots have
saying
been
this
talking
is
about it in detail.
unidentified area.
And like, vivid encounters of officials saying, we'd been on these test flights and we'd seen some stuff and the footage got leaked and the like. So it's kind of like the writing was on the wall, and maybe they just used the COVID distraction to say, we don't know what this would do to the general public. Let's just do it now. Now's the safest time because everyone's in this very controlled
Were you expecting there to be UFOs?
Yes.
Well, so was I. Were you?
Yeah, I was too.
I don't think it actually would have been a bigger shock
And
as you think.
that was probably what the mentality in the 60s compared to today is like. They're like, everyone's pretty desensitized to drastic things.
Yeah.
And a UFO, if you like really think about it, it's huge. But when it comes across the news screen, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
UFOs have been confirmed. I mean, we've been talking about them forever. They're in the news. We know.
Mate, I'm convinced I've seen UFOs.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I'm convinced I've seen them.
But what we have to understand too is that UFO doesn't when you say
aliens.
UFO, it doesn't mean aliens. It's
Yeah.
unidentified flying object.
But these
so
objects,
this could be military developments from other countries
100%,
spying on
could be.
countries,
It
and they're
could
like,
be.
"What the fuck is this?"
because they're doing drone test flights at 20 Gs or something like
20 Gs?
20 Gs.
Yo.
That's defying physics because the whole limitation of spacecraft was based on the human flesh.
Yeah.
And you remove that with drones. So now it's limitless. It's like whatever you can get that capability to do is what it can do. And materials are getting stronger and...
Not strong enough. Have you seen what the military in the US have made? They made a laser that can take down drones.
Yeah.
That came out a week or two ago.
It's
So it's like, the materials are great, and hey, we can do 20 Gs, but now the military's made a laser that can take it down.
It's also like, by the way, UFOs are confirmed to be real, and we've got lasers now.
It's
Like,
just brush it over.
And Elon released that Space Force gun. What was that? Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that. What's that?
Was that real?
I don't know.
He's like, if you want a job done, do it yourself, and had this Space Force gun. And I'm like, is it a laser? Like, what's he...
Was this recently?
Yeah.
Like maybe I saw a picture and I just assumed it was his flamethrower.
It's funny that he's just got these side hobbies.
Yeah, that's why he's such a
just run my main gig, and then I've got a side hobby where I build flamethrowers and laser guns and whatever.
UFOs. So, like, these people talk in detail around, like, what these objects were doing, and it's like America would have to be on the frontier of technology and innovation. We don't know that for sure. There's a lot of other smart countries out there that pump a bit of budget into this sort of thing. Yeah. But like 10, 15 years ago, these pilots were describing seeing this object just do things that defy physics. Like we could not achieve. Like the speeds it was moving at, the directional changes with no visual propeller systems and the like. And then it sort of, the radar systems were detecting it as well. And the craziest thing was like where the pilots were flying to their rendezvous point, they were heading towards the rendezvous point, and then the spacecraft, the UFO, went to the rendezvous point, hung out there for a bit, and then disappeared.
So it was like expecting them kind of thing.
It was expecting them. And then they're like, well, there's that, what's his name? Can't think of it. A really good documentary on Netflix on, I can't think of his name. But he, in the 60s, 70s, Bob Lazar, came out and said, yep, it wasn't area 51, it was like area 52 or something. It was just next door. And he's like, I've been working on reverse engineering propel technology. These are the things I saw. These are the capabilities of the spacecraft. All the things he said back then matches up with what these official sightings are kind of aligning with. So these like UFO conspiracy theorists guys are just sitting back putting all the dots together, and they're like,
dude, they'd be having a field day right now. They'd be having a field day right now.
Yeah. Because what they need is a good face to kind of, like, you see the ones that are leading the documentaries and the kind of trying to get the information out there, and they're just not. They
need a marketing man.
They need a marketing man.
They do. They need a face to like their thing. Like for example, the Flat Earth Society. Okay, they have a great face. The guy can talk. He's approachable. Like, he can really? Basically sling his product. Well, the UFO people, I don't know. And again, I know nothing about the UFO community or whatever they do.
They're not well represented.
They're not well represented?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Well, there's a couple of characters that.
I bet you now that it's factual, they'll find a face. Yeah. But then again, what are they going to do? Are they going to protest against something? Like what's their intention?
Well, it's the protest of information.
Yeah. Because the Flat Earthers were there to basically, it was like a cult to like get people in and just believe.
Yeah.
Like UFOs now, they're saying it's real. The UFO people are like, yay! Now what?
Yeah.
Now what? Now there's nothing we can do about it as a public.
Well, what else is there? If they're officially releasing this to say, we saw these spacecrafts right next to our military training facilities, and we haven't talked to these aliens. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe the MIB movies are a bit more accurate than what we know. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I hope we're around long enough in our lifetime to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to know.
That was that was one of the points, though. If the technology could control gravity, then it can control time. So they're like, these aliens have the ability to time travel.
That's a scary thought now, isn't it?
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't fully understand it, but that was the gist of it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But, because gravity is only really around planets and things like that. It's caused by masses.
Well, it's a quartz or something, and we don't fully understand the mechanics of how, like, what gravity is. We just sort of understand how it works. We know enough about it to be able to use it in the like. But the particle collision.
I remember that. Yeah, it was back in 2011 or something.
I think there was some
that.
huge news
where they're like potential black holes.
Yeah, they were like the world's going to get sucked up because these two particles are going to collide and cause a black hole.
Yeah. Who knows what could happen with that sort of stuff? If they make a black hole and then implodes or whatever. But like 8 or 9 years ago, they first created or saw, I think it was a quartz or antimatter or something. And it was this huge breakthrough where it's like, wow, this is the first step towards being able to control gravity. Like essentially, make gravity not affect this object.
Yeah.
And that changes. That's
insane.
a limitless game
that's
changer.
insane. Yeah.
That's what would sort of be the next huge jump in technology.
Yeah.
Like you think of the applications of that. But one thing I didn't consider is that it then enables potentially to control time, and I don't fully understand that. And you know how people say like, this person leaves the planet. 100 years go by and only 1 year goes by because he was traveling so close to the speed of light.
Yeah.
I did a bit of research on this.
That's relativity theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the time, scientific definition of time is the amount of time it takes a photon to bounce between two, I'm not sure what they're called, but 2 points, like the old pong games. Two points. So the theory is if you're traveling towards the speed of time, the speed of light, then that
it never reaches.
It never reaches.
So essentially you're controlling time. And I'm like, what? That's the theory? That doesn't mean that you're not going to age.
Yeah.
It just means that your clock's not working.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. If they get this whole anti-gravity thing, you think about what ages a human being, their joints, their skin, everything. It's all gravity. If you can start making your body and have anti-gravity in it, you're going to live a hell of a lot longer.
That's why pools are so nice. You get in there and you're like, whoa.
Geez,
gravity sucks.
This
feels good.
Yeah, they got those float baths for meditation.
Flotation tanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one tomorrow.
Yeah. You'll do one tomorrow?
I've got a monthly membership.
Nice.
I knew I shouldn't have signed up for monthly because I've been once in 6 months and I just charge you every month for
How much is it? It sounds like
cheap.
it would be expensive.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
Like $50, $60 a month or something.
Is it good?
They're the best.
True.
I love it. Yeah. Like I remember the first time I did it, I walked out and I was just floating. Like
That's cool.
It was a trip, you know, you're in this black, dark room with no sense of anything other than your thoughts,
breath,
and your internal mechanisms of your body, and you just completely shut away from stimuli.
Yeah.
And then you step outside, and it sounds corny, but it was like being reborn again. Like everything's new again, and you're just kind of waking back up into reality. And for such a long time of that, you're just so docile and just like, oh, that's relaxing, you know. You just your vibrations just at that real chilled state, and then you just kind of get back into the hamster on the wheel kind of way.
Man.
Thinking. So it's kind of like
it's almost like a monthly reset.
Yeah, it's like a bushwalk on steroids, you know. You just completely reset.
How long are you in the pod or whatever?
An hour.
1 hour.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, every time I think of those flotation tanks, I think of that Simpsons episode.
Where
Homer gets in the thing and ends up going all around town, and, like, and he
the
comes out and he's like, "Whoa!" Oh, it's the best thing.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Good job of that.
Thank you very much for joining us for another podcast, guys. And I think this has been a fun one. I've had some good energy today. I'm feeling it.
The hardest thing's holding in a piss for an hour when you're
couple of beers.
We'll see you next week, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to this. And again, please like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and all of our social medias, and join the movement, man. Broadwater Collective. We're all about cultivating positivity through health, wealth, and wellness. So
get amongst it.
Get around it.
If you've got any ideas, send them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come
and
to the team.
We'll see you next time.
That's it.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.